Welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to show you this blouse. I found it in the store originally. I fell in love with it. I thought it was just beautiful. And then I went ahead and found it online and I got a chance to try it on. And I just really hope you love it as much as I do. So this is from Lafayette 148. It's called the Kimono Satin, or Satin Kimono Blouse, Kimono Satin Blouse, but under Lafayette 148, you can look it up. The blouse is $800. It's on sale for $500. What a deal, right? We can make it for obviously much less. So I decided to, in all of these, Georgio's top is our POM for the month, number 312. And we had a little webcast on it last night, or a couple nights ago, I guess by the time this shows. But anyway, a couple nights ago. And showed you all the different variables. But I want to show you this one because it's so different. And it's a little more work. So if you're a newbie and just feel like it's too much, but for those of you who have done the top and you're comfortable with it, this is a no-brainer. And it's easy and it's fun and it's just pretty. I mean, it's just pretty. It feels pretty on. It's just beautiful. Okay, so the first thing I want to do then is I'll show you the front because I took it off the mannequin so you can kind of see it a little bit better. I know sometimes when it's dark, but what I love about it is the sleeve is open for a certain section. It goes into the top and it's closed up, but then it becomes like a cape in the back. So it's so on trend and what's going on right now built into a blouse. It can be a knit or a woven. It doesn't make a difference. You're going to see that it's becomes sleeveless underneath here. It actually becomes sleeveless. This is just on top. And so this body could be a knit or a woven. Now with Georgio's, what I did is I slimmed in the bottom. I took away the flare. And so all I really wanted was the center front seam so I could do the V-neck. And I wanted the princess seam so I could insert the sleeves. Those were kind of the key components. So the first thing we want to do is we've seen the blouse, kind of get an understanding of it, and we're going to make the pattern changes. And so this page is for all the pattern changes. So if you need any questions, just come back to this page because they're all on it. So if you notice, the first thing I do is I make the top sleeveless, and you can see that there's a red line there, and that red line is making both the front and back sleeveless. And it doesn't have to be an exact armhole, it just has to cut off. It can overlay a little bit, you're never even going to see it. Later on I'm going to show you to finish the sleeve, but you don't even have to finish it. You can just leave it. It doesn't make a difference. The only thing you want to make sure of is wherever you draw that red line, that the width of that piece number 4 and piece number 2 are matching, so that when you sew that shoulder seam together, again, that doesn't make exactly, it doesn't have to exactly match, but you want it in the ballpark. And so then you just bring that in and you can see that it just comes in somewhere to the side seam. And do it about the same place so that the side seams are the same length. Okay, then you notice the purple line I did, and that's to make it a V-neck. And you've got a center front seam, so you can easily make it a V-neck. When we're going to sew it, we're going to just finish off the front edge and then hem it. So the center front seam is open. And that way it's very easy to do the V-neck. You won't have any problem doing a V-neck. On the French curve, the placement of the French curve, and I wrote the numbers on there, is 18 at the center front and 9 at my neck edge. Now that may not be exactly the same on every size, but it'll be in that ballpark. 18 at center front, 9. That'll give you the angle of that V-neck. V-necks are not straight lines. That's what you want to make sure you understand. You don't want to do a straight line on a V-neck. It'll just look silly. So 18 to 9, it's a very gentle slope. All right, and then we're going to make the cape. So those two things are done to the body. I straighten the hem, I make the V-neck, and I make it a sleeveless. And then I'm going to make a cape to go over. And what the cape will do, and I've shown it on here, it will follow piece number 2. It'll follow center front. You're going to go from the shoulder and you're going to arc up a little bit. And what that does is, because it will actually fall straight onto the arm, it gives a little more poof down at the bottom. So the shape of that seam does not make a lot of difference. It doesn't matter how high it is. None of that makes a lot of difference. Just give it a little more and take it down to be a long sleeve. So I added 7 inches below where the pattern stops, because that was my wrist line. So at about 7 inches, you can always shorten it. You can always bring it back. I've got long arms, so 7 inches should be good. So that A line goes to B, and B is going to be the addition of A is going to be the pattern itself plus 7 inches. Then just draw it down straight and connect the bottom line. Now this line from here I did 15 inches. That's about waistline is where you want that to fall on you. If you're a little shorter, obviously don't do as much sleeve. You don't want it to be as long, but come down, when you come down on piece number 2, come down about 15 inches. And again, vary that accordingly. Then you're going to go straight out, and you're going to go straight out to the sleeve hem. Now, when you come out to this point B here, you could narrow it. You know, you can take some off the bottom. On the original blouse, I measured it, and I liked it where it was a little bit floppy because it lent itself to mobility. It lent itself to movement of the back. You know, I just liked it. So I went ahead and left it. Now, those pieces, you're going to cut 2 of those because you're going to insert this one and this one when you make it. And I'll get to sewing in just a minute. But we got to make the back cape. So the back cape, you see that A is going to be the same length. Now the only difference in the back is the back includes a cape. And the back, I cut the back on a center fold, again because the blouse in the store did. So see how I've included on that drawing and those green lines, I've included the back piece. But don't have a center back seam and overlap your seam allowances. And then just trace it. But A still has to maintain the same. I came down again 15 inches, about waist line. My waist is 16 inches. I came down a little less because you want it a little above your waist. And you can see if you look up this blouse, they actually tuck it into a skirt. I've got it on with jeans and I've got it worn out, but you could tuck it in and it's really beautiful tucked in as well. Or with a belt, you can make it longer, you know, all those variables. All right, so A's are the same, B's are the same, and then you connect them across the bottom. And that's it. The back cape is on the fold. So play with it, it's fun. Let's talk about how we sew it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to finish the armholes. And if you want to hem them, but you can just serge them and leave them, or you can hem them. Either way. Now the front and the back are not sewn together. So you're finishing the fronts, you're finishing the back armholes. That's the first thing you're doing. Okay, the second thing is you're finishing the hems of the overlay. So this hem down here is finished, the back hem is finished. Both of those hems are finished because when you sew them into the seam, they've got to be finished or else there's no way to finish them. So you have to finish them first and then put them aside. The next thing we're going to do is the shoulder seams. So that means I'm going to sew the body piece. I'm going to sew the center front 2 to 1, and I'm going to insert this shield when I do it, and do the same on this side. The back is not. It's not inserted in the seam. So all I'm going to do is pin it along the neck edge, and I'm going to pin it along the shoulder seam. And now when I sew the shoulder seams, the front to back, I catch all those layers. It's just really easy. I mean, it may sound like a few steps, but I'm telling you, this blouse is beautiful and it's really easy. So I'm going to sew those shoulder seams, then I'm going to do the side seams. Now remember, the side seams are only to the armhole. They're just that finished armhole down to the side. That's all the side seams are. Then I'm going to hem the bottom of the sleeve. I'm going to stitch 6 inches here because you want this to be closed there and open there. I think that's part of the beauty, especially as it hangs down. It gives us an opportunity. It gives it a completely different drape when it hangs down. And the cool thing is different fabrics will have different drape to them. I think that's the beauty of all of this. And then you hem the bottom. And you've got this beautiful blouse. I love it. I mean, it's so pretty. It's one of those moments. But anyway, the satin kimono blouse, Lafayette 148. If you have any questions, ask them below this video. Just put them right below the video and I'll come back and check on them and I'll help you. And I'm going to tell you, it's lovely. It's beautiful. I just love it and I hope you do too. And the goal is happy sewing from Silhouette Patterns.